you think?
You're the expert, I just work here.
Looks pretty solid.
You know what we don't?
I recognize the work, but he's a pro. Oh, he's cutting it close.
Alright, we have Bomb Busters. I've been really excited about this game. When I heard about it, it took a while to get over here, and I've been playtesting it over the last week. Now, it's a very cutesy animated animals, I guess. And as it says, they wanted the best team, they got you. This is a very weird logic puzzle game that is actually a campaign game. But it is incredibly fun. I made the mistake of calling this Guess Who. It's not really Guess Who, but it has similar mechanics of trying to figure out what's in your other player's hand. And I say other players because you're not opponents, which is why it really doesn't fit the Guess Who thing. But this game is a very simple game, and it's fun if you like logic puzzles. This isn't quite an unboxing video because I've been playing through it. But I do like the black cardboard. We have our complete guide to not explode. And it's fairly straightforward. If you notice already off the bat, it's a legacy game, so it's going to have new rules and mechanics added. We've already added one sticker. Sadly, it doesn't fit exactly in its frame box. I do have some issues with this book because I don't think it's as intuitive, because it wants you to take the reference cards for every scenario that is going to change the layout of the rules. So we've opened up the first scenario, slight spoilers. This sticker here is just a component listing. This campaign itself will introduce new mechanics from the base first 8 missions. We've only got to mission 9 because it's gotten a little bit more complicated and it's turned into some lucky guesses. We haven't marked any of the score stuff, but you just tally how many times you've blown up and succeeded. Here is the sticker sheet. These stickers are kind of hilarious. They're just gee whiz stickers that you place on everything, but it will tell you, like, this sticker will go on this box, that box, whatever, and the rest of the stickers are just for funsies. This little certificate, though, it is kind of neat because I was noticing on the side of the box here, I was wondering what these were. So you can put the little certificates for completion of your missions. There's a little trophy thing here, which is kind of neat. More trophies. And I believe they're going to have some stickers here. But it's just some neat gee whiz fun. I thought it added some variety to the game. As far as the components go, I'm going to be upfront with the components. The cards are fine. And this is where I'm going to get to. The wire tokens. These are very small, and they're kind of a pain to shuffle and manage all the time. Especially when they have cards for the equipment and your characters. Don't know if you're going to get upgraded characters. And then you have these giant scenario setup cards. The game does come with 5 of these plastic stands that are not great, but they do their job. And then we have scenarios 0 to 19, 20 through 30, which is in a bigger box, 43 through 54, 31, 42, and 55 to 66. It does have this removable tray. Thought that was kind of neat. And it does come with extra plastic baggies. I used some plastic baggies I had lying around that fit better. The tray isn't great. I'm not exactly sure why you would need this, but it's still a welcome addition. The board. You're going to put together this little fun dial thing. It does kind of suck because it's loose and it doesn't sit flat because this button is not recessed. But depending on your player count, that's how many failures you make before the bummy goes boom. As far as this has player count, this is your special equipment. And they're randomly dealt out per scenario unless it says otherwise. And depending on the players, you have to get those wires cut first, a pair, before you can actually even have access to these. This system here is a neat system, and it has a lot to do with how this game works. So our first 8 scenarios, which is actually nice if you feel comfortable. You can just skip to 8 after you play 4, but it's going to explain the basic setups. And this is where I kind of have a problem, because some of this isn't super clear and it contradicts the book. The book will tell you to do this, and the book says do something else, and I don't know. I did not like it. But Jason says I'm just reading too deep into it. And how you know where you're on the right side is this little paper clip will line up here. But as far as the setups go, they will tell you what sets of wires you need, what to put out, whatever the rules are, these little flag markers, and then you'll flip it over, and this will tell you how to play the game for the first scenario. And then you just put it there for everyone to see. Our characters, which are, again, these cutesy cartoony animals, and this is why I got this game, because I'm a child at heart. And we have this captain. I'm not sure if he's a husky or a wolf. They're all the same on the back, so you can use it as a randomizer, but the captain, someone has to be the captain. And they'll have the same ability, this double detector, which I'll explain. Here are these equipment cards. They all have the same back, and they're going to be randomly put out during your player count. We've been running a 2-player game constantly, and you just throw these out here. They don't have to be order, but I prefer that way. And what you want to do here is, when you have clipped a pair of 3s, you now have access to this triple detector, which is a really cool ability. And then you just flip it over once you use it. It's a really cool system and adds some variety, and in the campaign you will unlock more equipment. I do not know if you'll unlock more characters. So we have some fun tokens. First off, these yellow wires. Red wires obviously go boom. And we have some of these weird components. One of them is a first player marker, which I don't think really needs to exist. This crappy, cool sunglasses, David Caruso CSI Miami bunny. But this is a first player marker. We have these green discs, which we will place on the numbers that we know that are safe. And I say safe as in, you have this red peg, there is a question mark, and a blank side. Same with the yellow pegs, question mark and blank side. During setup, it's going to tell you sometimes that you're going to take X amount of wires, but you're only going to keep one of them, and it's going to go in the pool that's mixed up. So you're going to take these red pegs, and let's say it's red wires, and they're always going to be in between a number. It's always like 5 point something. They start from 1.1. All the yellows are 0.1 at the end, but the red ones I don't remember if they're all 0.1. I guess they're all 0.5s. And that's going to put that guess of like, if it tells you 3 wires that you're going to get, and let's just say that these were the 3 drawn, 2 of them are discarded and 1 of them's kept. And the reason that this is important is it messes with your ability to think if things are going to be safe. Like some of the worst scenarios that we ran into was something like that, where we had unknown yellow wires and unknown red wires very close to each other. And the way this game works is you're going to guess what wire an opponent has that matches a wire in your tray. And this is where the logic thing comes out. It seems very fundamentally easy, especially since it gives you these flag markers. And at the start of the game, every player is allowed to take a flag marker to mark one of their wires. Okay, so in this terrible example, and I say terrible because I don't have anyone to actually show you what I'm trying to explain. You're going to get distributed a random amount of wires. Sometimes it's going to be even, sometimes it's odd, depending on player count. You're going to set them in numerical order and value. And then you're going to take one of these flags and you're going to place it in front of that number. This is a really important decision in the game because there's usually 4 wires, unless they're red or yellow. And what you're trying to do is pairs. So right now I have one wire. And if I was playing with 3 people, or 4 people, I don't know where those ones are. But someone needs a pair to complete. So if I put this one flag here as my marker, this starts the deduction of, okay, that's a safe bet. If everyone knows that's a 1, what do I have next? And then we'll compare it with this board with these markers. If you have the only 2 wires left, and I say if because your opponents, if they still have like the 2 5s out, the 2 7s, or the 2 9s, and they haven't been exposed yet, that's going to be an issue. I can't cut those wires yet. But if they did, then I would take my pair, I could cut my pair, and I could put them out here. If you're playing with 2 players, you both get 2 boards, and you can kind of mix it so the odds that you have all 4 of a certain wire, you can just cut them and do it. Yellow wires is basically picking a yellow wire versus a yellow wire. There are ways to change that ability. And you have this flag to mark that if you want to. I don't know how helpful that is. We haven't run into that issue. But it's really important to lay out your numbers like this. And this is where it goes back to like the guessing back and forth. Every time that you miscut a wire, you leave the wire where it is. But in this example, let's say that they've said this was an 11. It's really a 10. The counter goes down, and I'll put the 10 flag here, signifying that that is a 10. So that helps them figure out that this is the 11. It could be a 12. But it's really important where these flags are maintaining. As far as the yellow ones, if you cut a yellow one, you don't cut it, you put out the flag that says it's yellow, and then you go down. The more players, obviously, the more chances you have to mess up. In a 2-player game, it gets pretty tight on your choices because it's only one screw up before you go boom. So how do we counteract these deficits in the guessing game? Well, everyone has an ability called the double detector. And you're going to basically point to 2 wires next to each other, and you're going to say, are either of those that number? If it's correct, you don't put a flag, you just reveal it, and you snip that pair. It's actually really straightforward. If it's yellow, like I said, it goes down, but if you say it's yellow wire, you got a yellow wire, you can just cut it. And then if it's the dreaded red wire, well, red wires instantly die. So yeah, there's some horrible things going on. But to offset again, if you are progressing through, you can unlock certain abilities that are very helpful. So here we have a triple detector. Here we have a post-it. These are very helpful in the deduction system. And it comes down to like giving clues to your other players. So they know this is a pair of 7s, but I can't ever tell them what I have. They have to guess, and we have to point back and forth and play this game. By doing certain actions and putting things out in places, you can kind of mitigate what's out, and through deduction, you can figure it out. Because obviously, if I put this 5 here, well then, that tells them that this has to be 5 or lower. And if this is a 1 here, so we know it's 5 through 1. They don't know if I have 2 1s or 3 1s, and that's where some of the guessing goes. And that's where, like, marking, so we know, like, all the 10s are safe, because it has to be, the bomb is sitting between, like, 8 and 9. Definitely the bomb is sitting at 8 and above, but if it was like that, well, we definitely know what's a safe number, what's not a safe number. So this is just a nice, quick reminder. You're supposed to keep them there, or it doesn't really matter. As far as the game's progression as it goes, we went through the first 9 scenarios, and we've been having a lot of fun. Every scenario adds and teaches more, but the first 4 scenarios are really the training wheels, and like I said, it tells you that you could advance if you want to, but we played it safe because we want to see more mechanics and stuff introduced. Now, playing with more players, this game is going to get more complex and frustrating, because now the odds of us having pairs is even lower. Because in a 2-player game, you're going to control 2 boards, and you're going to put them out there. You'll put out 2 flags, 1 for each board separate, and that's what's going to cause a lot of the guessing back and forth. On the plus side, though, if you have like all 4 numbers in both trays, you can cut them, and that gives major clues. It's a very straightforward game that has just a really wonky system with how the setup cards and the rulebook setup are kind of back and forth. Also, once you use the double detector ability on your character, you're going to flip them over to the they don't have any more batteries, because this is not the Energizer Bunny. There are ways, and it's usually through these equipment cards that replenish. Now, like I said, we've only done mission 9. We haven't gotten past 10 yet. And I don't know if it's going to unlock more characters or equipment, especially with these bigger boxes. Because we got Mr. Mad bombing Wolf at midnight. This is a really big box. Makes me curious what's in here. Because everything fits in the regular box. What did this add that requires it to be this big? So I'm really curious to see where this is going to go. But this is a fun game. I like the deduction puzzle. The only thing that I really have a gripe is that these tiles are really hard to keep face down when you're shuffling and doing the randomizing, and then dealing them out. This should have been cards. I know it would have made the hand thing bigger, and the cards would take up more table space, but personally, these are kind of just hard to shuffle. I wish they were cards. That's really about it. As far as the complexity level of this game, when I first tried explaining this game, like I said it's Guess Who. It's not Guess Who. You're trying to complete sets, and if you're the sole owner of those sets, then you can do it. And in this scenario, this is horrible. If I'm the one, so the other players I'd be playing with, someone might have 3 ones, and they need to know where that one is, which will cut their hand size down greatly and help me. So there's a lot of, how do I help other people with the information I have, because I can never tell them. Now, caveats to this are, I know there are certain types of people that if they get like the red wire or the yellow wire, they're going to make it known because they're just going to do bad poker stuff and go, or ugh, and basically give out clues. To play this game the way you want to actually have a challenge and fun, it's not give out clues. You cannot tell people what you have, even though I don't think that's that bad in 2 players because it's pretty easy to deduce who has what. Because if I don't have the red wire, then my opponent would have, or the other player would have the red wire if we're playing 2-player game. And the same for the yellows. So, yeah. But in a 4-player game, it's a little bit more difficult. If you get people that can't stay quiet or get giddy or just drop that poker face, then yeah, that's going to give some clues, and that's kind of cheaty. I talked to my friend, and he was like, this is super easy. And I was like, you guys cheated or you didn't play it right. And when I was playing with Jason, he kept on trying to fish clues out from me, and I was straight up just, I'm not giving you any hints, which required, some control, but I wanted to play the game the way the game's played. Now, the thing I enjoyed about the game was actually watching his problem deduction and how he talked about his method and how things make sense to him. And I was like, yeah, that's really cool. Me, I was kind of just going with what I know and then guessing on a few. And if I'm unsure, I'll use the double detector. I am not against using equipment. But some people are purists and don't think they ever need to use equipment. So that's the only problem I really see with this game. Besides that is just the fact that you might run into people that need to talk and tell you exactly what they have, and they might basically cheat. Or you could have my problem where, I will sometimes put the numbers out of order because I keep on forgetting 8.1 is greater than 8, not less than 8. I made that mistake. But overall, I've been having a lot of fun with this. I think it's actually a really good game. Cost me about like $40, which seems a little light for what you get. But the enjoyability factor and the fact that it is actually a campaign game with evolving rules and setup adds tons of replayability, which I actually enjoy compared to most campaign games that are just locked into one thing. Overall, I think Bomb Busters is a great game. If you like a group challenge puzzle and you want to see how dysfunctional your group is, oh yeah, Bomb Busters is definitely going to test that to its limit. As far as teaching it, again, it's just really weird that it tells you to do the setup, then it tells you to go do this card, ignoring the rest of the setup in the book, but then this will tell you it's just out of order. As far as everything goes on this sheet, the setup, turn, return, all the rules, everything's here on the back. This makes it a lot easier. The storage system isn't great. I don't like the fact, but you're always going to play, eventually you're always going to play with 48 of these tiles. It's just the yellow and red that need to be sorted out, and they're just hard to grab and maintain. And you can see how many of these little yellow markers there are. And you can have scenarios where there's like 3 red wires, which just makes it really stressful. Some of these extra tokens, these go to equipment, so you shouldn't really worry about it. The equipment's pretty self-explanatory. The only thing is like these green discs for validation. And again, that's just to say that this number we know is safe. It's just a quick reference on the board. You really don't even need this board. It doesn't need to be there, but these are nice. They help. And sometimes you'll get in your head about it. These trays, I wish they were better, but I'm not too disappointed with it. You understand your group or your partner, then try it out, because it's definitely going to push some limits. And it might actually help you maintain a poker face if you're trying to learn how to win at poker. Other than that, I'm still doing the 2025 giveaway. I have gotten a copy of 1930 for the giveaway signed by my friend Alex. If you're interested in winning that, check out my 2025 giveaway video. Other than that, take care of yourselves and GG's.